Hi, my name is Lauren Schneider, and this is my starter discussion post on the welfare system. So I first wanted to talk about the video about the welfare reform and poverty and how the welfare reform is leaving more in deep poverty. So I found a couple things interesting. First of all, more people are getting food stamps, but there's many things that you can't buy on with food stamps, like diapers, and many of the women on welfare aren't working, and these children are struggling. Stephanie Mensmer thinks that it would be helpful to find a way to get the children money since the stress of poverty has lasting effects on children. And another thing I found interesting is if you end up getting money on the welfare system, this is another thing Stephanie Mensmer mentioned. If you end up getting money on the welfare system, a family of three can't get more than $300, and obviously that's very hard to live off of, especially even just one person living off of $300. And they also discussed how Republicans believe making people in poverty suffer more will help them to want to better their lives, and this will help them to get out of poverty. And then this is the reasoning for cutting their support and how it will help them. So those were just some interesting things that I found from the welfare reform video. So I found there to be many negatives and many positives to the Ohio Works First welfare program that we have. And the first negative that I found was to receive welfare, an unmarried minor who is a parent or a pregnant minor must be in an approved adult supervised living arrangement or live with a parent or a legal guardian or a specified relative. But many times if the woman is pregnant or has a child already, what if she's living on her own and she isn't living with somebody else? I felt like she should be able to get welfare if she needs it. So I felt like that was a negative to Ohio Works First. Another is if you are terminated from your job while receiving Medicaid or child care benefits, then you won't receive welfare, which you can't always know when you're going to get terminated from your job. And what if you can't find another job right away because you do have to have a job while being on welfare. And so you have to have a job while being on welfare, and your income can't exceed the amount for the assisted group size. But a lot of times the income that you have exceeds what welfare says is enough for you to get by, but you still can't get by with the number of children that you have or whatever. So I feel that if they still need assistance, they should be able to get it. They shouldn't make a rule saying that you need employment but you can't make too much money. So I felt that was a negative. And they also don't give welfare assistance to certain people, like fugitive felons or people on probation or parole violators. I feel like everyone should have a chance with welfare, especially if you're just coming out of jail or if you're on parole. You aren't you obviously can't get a job right away, so I feel like those are the people that need it the most. And another negative to welfare is long-term users of welfare tend to stay on public assistance for long periods of time, usually more than 2 consecutive 2 consecutive years, and then they tend to have more children than short-term users and have less education and less skills. They also may have more physical, mental, or other problems. So those are some other negatives to being on welfare. Although there are some positives. I agree with having a 3-year cutoff because this prevents people from taking advantage of the system, and I agree with it requiring people to work. I also think that the child care through Title 20 is a positive. It guarantees for 1 year after leaving welfare that you will be provided childcare, and then also health care is guaranteed for 1 year after leaving welfare. So there are some positives. People receiving welfare face many challenges. One of the major challenges they face is the stigma attached with receiving welfare. In our book, we read about women who were divorced or separated and experienced the stigma of welfare. Some of their stories start on page 91. The woman felt it was essential for them to go on welfare to survive. They felt they had no other option if they wanted to eat or have a place to stay. One woman that was actually running out of things to sell, so she was forced to go on welfare. These women knew about the stigmas prior to applying for welfare. To society, they were seen as lazy, baby-making women who were living off others' hard work. Another woman on welfare had never been poor before, and it was a shock to her when she had to apply for welfare. Before becoming poor, she was married and living a middle-class life. Once she became poor, and she had to apply for welfare, and her first time receiving welfare, she actually cried to the intake person, and the person at the intake replied to her saying it's become normal for women who were wives or ex-wives of doctors or lawyers to find themselves in the same situation. With that being said, I feel women, particularly single parents working with small children at home, should also be able to receive welfare. I feel like those are actually the people have it the worst because their situation not only affects them, but it also affects their children, and I feel like it would be hard for them to deal with the guilt of their life decisions affecting their children. Also, there are many issues with the welfare system. I talked about some of them when I talked about the positives and negatives. I feel like we need to start putting in work to empower people that are receiving welfare. We need to work on getting them better jobs by assessing their skills, interests, and barriers to employment. We need to provide them with support and information. I feel like people, social services, people need to start with goal setting and stay with them until they reach their goals. And then my question to start this discussion is, to leave you with for this discussion is, do you feel welfare is helping people in poverty, or do you feel welfare is enabling people?